to Out of the Box Radio with me, your host, Christine Blasdale. Out of the Box Radio is a weekly podcast of audible ear candy dedicated to bringing a fresh perspective on this thing that we call life. And each and every week, we're going to be diving into the topics that matter most with lively conversations on issues such as health, wellness, and transformational healing, all with the goal of creating a better world and becoming a happier human being. I will be your tour guide for this epic adventure, and each and every week, we're going to be embarking on a journey with the ultimate goal being transformation to our highest potential. And now, let's get out of the box. Hello, everyone. I'm Christine Blasdale, and welcome back to Out of the Box Radio. I'm very happy to have joining me today an incredible young lady named Jacqui Greene of the Listening Project. And Jacqui is here with us today to talk about a great number of things. Most importantly, I know that whatever I'm going through, the Out of the Box Radio listeners are going through as well. And I will be completely honest that right now there's so much stuff going on in my life, so many crazy things going on. And I really have asked sort of for like something to kind of kick my butt a little bit and to get me on a path that I feel that I need to be on. And not too long ago, I was at an incredible event called Evolving Out Loud with Kyle Cease, this amazing comedian, transformational god. And at this event, Jacqui had gotten up and spoke quite bravely, just was pulled up and started speaking to the audience. And immediately I knew I had to have her on the show. So I want to welcome to Out of the Box Radio, Jacqui Greene. Welcome, Jacqui.
Hi, Christine. Thanks for having me on.
And let's talk about that day. Let's talk about, I was telling you earlier, when you got up on stage and you started to speak, first of all, when you started to speak, everyone's attention just came riveting at you, which I'm sure you probably weren't completely prepared for, to have all of that focused attention on you. And the energy of the room of the auditorium was very incredible. But talk about, if you will, just that moment that you said that you got up on stage and what went through your mind.
Sure. Well, it was certainly an interesting experience. I, for about 6 weeks prior to that event, had been looking more into the path I was on, the journey I was taking forward, and I knew that this was going to involve me being on stage now and in the future, and ultimately was about helping people. But I had no agenda. I knew very much to just have those visions, know that that's where I was going, and to see where that took me. And I ended up on stage literally because we were in the middle of a session that Carl had created, as you know, and he literally walked down the stage, asked me to pop up on stage to help demonstrate what we were going to do next. It was both absolutely the right thing to have happened and mesmerizing at the same time. I mentioned it when I was up there on stage that I had been doing this visualizing. I was wearing the outfit that I had seen myself first on stage with. I knew it was going to be in front of hundreds of people there. As you know, there were 1,400 people in that room that day. So I could have been overwhelmed, but I wasn't. It just felt right. Yes, to suddenly have 1,400 pairs of eyes, or 1,399 pairs of eyes looking at me. Firstly, once I spoke up to the microphone, and secondly, when I slowed down, because what I found here in LA is we might all speak English, but my British accent seems to get in the way a bit. So once that was out the way, and I didn't get flustered by that either, which is unusual for me in some respects, because normally any kind of confrontation would have created an air of overwhelm. It was just the right place for me to be, and so that's how it started, really. That's how come we're here, obviously.
Exactly. And that's what was, because you sort of knew, or you saw yourself, you saw that all happening before you even went to the event. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying, is that when I was sitting in the audience and you were up there, and even when you went back to your seat, I saw you being on the show.
Yeah.
And I had that, whatever, that voice, that the words, it's not like a voice, it's not like some booming God voice saying, you will have her on the show. But it was, you need to go over there, go over there, go over there. Just give her your card because she's going to be on your show. She's going to be on your show, if not soon, somewhere down the road when she has something very important to share. And what I want our listeners to know is that I only bring people onto the program that I feel has something very powerful and life-enhancing or life-changing to bring to the listeners, because it's happening to me. It's, whatever that the guests that I have on, their look at life or the things that they've done that have helped them can help a lot of people. And this is just a conduit to get to those people. So I'm really glad that I got up and I gave you my card, and I'm glad that you called or you emailed me.
Yeah, emailed me.
And then here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
And here we are. And I had said that it's Jacqui Greene of the Listening Project. Let's talk about the Listening Project. Let's talk about what you have found has helped you and what you want to do for others, because I know you have a great deal of gifts that you want to give to others. Let's talk about the Listening Project.
Sure. Well, the Listening Project is literally born from understanding that we are the most important people in our lives, whether we're daughters, sisters, brothers, parents, grandparents. Ultimately, if we don't put ourselves as number one to ourselves, we can't be the best that we can be for everybody else in our lives. And that can be perhaps taken selfishly, but it shouldn't be, because with our own health, our mental health, our bodies, our physical well-being, if we're not in our doing our best, giving our best performances, then we're not setting examples for other people, and we can't give our very best to everybody else. So the Listening Project really was born out of the fact that we all have a story, we all have a past. Some of that past repeats on us, maybe every year, maybe every 10 years, maybe every few months, as ways of learning and the universe, as it were, however you see that, God, or however you see the higher self in you, really trying to teach us something. And if we do not listen, then those patterns keep recurring, and oftentimes they keep hurting. So the basis behind the Listening Project is to sit down with individuals, and for me to listen and hear their story, to take it on board. So that would be the first part. So to really, whether you're 21 or 81 or anywhere in between, each of our stories are different. They're individual to us, and they all mean something very much to us. So for me to take that on board, and then within the second session, what I would do is relay that story back to you, to yes, see it from a third person point of view, but also to take it from you and to allow you to look at it, listen to it, and be able to deconstruct it and see where those patterns are occurring. Then within that, we can start to understand what it is that isn't healthy, that the patterns that we keep doing that aren't healthy, that really need maybe for us to look at from a different point of view. And also then within that session to look at who you really want to be, what you really want to be doing, whether that's within your life, within your job, within your relationship. I mean, all of these things are massive, but we all kind of really know if we stop and take some time out for us. And so what the third session is about understanding that time is irrelevant, that we're here right now, and our past is our past, and it's created who we are to many respects, and none of us can be ungrateful for whatever we've had in our past, because we wouldn't be who we are today. But that we can structure who we are now and going forwards, and to really understand what it is where we want to be going, so that we can focus on that, and then through meditation sit and actually listen to ourselves. Now those first few sessions may not, and I doubt will get us to an ending, because we're forever evolving, right, as it were, but what it will do is get us to a place almost like a starting point. And so then we can work from there forwards.
One of the aspects what I like about it is that, you know, there's a lot of people who are probably even listening to this show right now, to this program, that are not feeling fulfilled or happy in either their job or their lack of work, the lacking, right? The lack of work, the lack of health, the lack of a healthy relationship, or you know, either they're in a relationship that they're maybe not extremely happy about, or there is you know, conflict, or they're not with anyone and they are, you know, maybe seeking companionship, seeking a relationship or something like that. What I love about what you do is that it's focusing on the self in a way, kind of like when we take time to go to the gym.
Yeah.
We take time to, you know, for the most part, try to eat healthy and spend time and energy in, you know, securing foods that are, you know, good for us. We spend a lot of time on what we look like, clothing, hair, all that other stuff, but very little time on who we really, really are. And I am getting this hit I'm getting right now. Partially, it's because it's painful.
Absolutely. And it is painful to, you know, sometimes to really look in that mirror mentally and see that we're not in a place that we don't want to be. You know, it's much easier to be going to the 9-to-5 job, or to be coming home to the same comfortable relationship that we've been in for 10, 12, 15, however many years, because it's what we know, and it's that comfort zone. You know, it's called a comfort zone for a reason. And when we start to look in the mirror of our soul and start to see that we're not happy, it's very easy to go, well, what have I done with my life? What am I doing here? And then the pain comes, and it's then a choice of, well, do I do anything about this, or do I try and forget the fact I even realized it? And well, we all know you can't unlearn. You know, once you've seen it, you just can't.
Well, I think that you nailed it on the head. I think a lot of people are walking around saying, well, this is my lot in life. You know, I have to have this job because it's secure. I have to be in this relationship because I don't want to be alone. It's better than nothing. You know, you name it. We give these excuses for really going in, trying to seek out our own happiness, because I think a lot of it, there's a portion of us, maybe it's from those old stories, that we feel that we don't deserve.
And oftentimes, some of it is we don't deserve, and often we just don't know how. So it is almost like, well, this is what we know. And for some reason, from being children into adults, we've turned, oh, well, I've never done this before, let's give it a go, into, I don't know how, therefore I'm not going there. It means I can't. And it so doesn't mean you can't. You just don't know. You can go and read a book, you can have a session with someone, you can listen to an audio, you can seek out people who have done the things that you want to do. But you have to be willing to do that. Now, if you're not willing to do that, you also then, that's fine. Then be happy where you are and make the decision that that's okay. But if that isn't okay and it doesn't feel good, then the next step is to do something about it and to take that step. Now, that doesn't mean leaping off a cliff necessarily. For some people, that works. For some people, it's just a massive change is what they need to actually go forward and be who they want to be in life. For other people, that's just too scary. They can't even take the step. But just to take a little step, to push the boundary a little bit, just to cross that line from the comfort zone, and if need be, get back into it again. Right. At least then you know that you can, and the next step can be bigger.
And for those people who say, well, that's easy for you to say, Jacqui, you with your British accent, or Nottingham, all Robin Hoodish. That's all pip pip cheerio for you to say. But I'm living, you know, I need to know what my life is going to be like. I need to know that I have the security of this. I've got responsibilities. Talk about your own story. Talk about, like right now you're here in Southern California. And we were talking earlier, you don't necessarily know what the next.
No,
You're scheduled to go back.
I'm scheduled to
right?
go
You're
back.
scheduled to go back to the UK.
Yeah.
But you told me something really. Tell our listeners what you were talking about.
Sure. So I ended up here in LA quite by chance. Firstly, I never had any desire to be in California. I didn't really know anything about the area. No reason at all for me to be in the US at all. I had a lifelong dream, 10 years plus, to live and work in France, which, sure, for me in the UK, just to pop across to France doesn't seem like a big deal, but of course they speak a completely different language. And I was a home bird. I grew up on farms. I had a very close-knit friendship. For 12 years, I had been in a relationship in a very comfortable environment. So we had a small holding. I have horses. We had dogs. Very, very comfortable. Had an incredibly well-paid job. Had the sports cars. Had the SUVs. To the outside world, I was living the dream. Except it was all outside, because on the inside, I certainly wasn't. And 2 years ago, took some drastic steps to move away from that, and thought that was great. I moved away from that relationship. We're friendly, and it was a breakdown in relationships are the best that it could be. So heartbreak, of course, on both sides, but it is what happens. And I started to build a life outside of that, but it still didn't quite sit right. And I knew that there was something more. And back in September of 2015, I was introduced to somebody who connected with me on a level I hadn't connected with before, and made me look at myself from a very different angle. And it was from that point forward that my life changed and continues to change. It resulted in a trip to the Peruvian Amazon to spend 10 days with the locals, learning about plant medicine, and really learning to look at me and to trust my path, and to understand where it was I wanted to be going, rather than what it was I was doing just to earn a living. I came back from that trip knowing I needed to be doing something different. So having already sold my property, I also gave up my rental property and moved in with some friends for a while whilst I decided what to do next. And that next was to book 3 months in France to see if I really did want to be there. I drove out with my little dog on the 1st of February. And within that time, I had also met a very nice chap who I thought lived in France. In fact, he'd been in France for 4 months and he was on his way back to LA. So we met very briefly and parted company and kept in touch on Skype. And in the meantime, I wrote a book, as you do when you go and rent a little gîte in the southwest France. I wrote a book, and through that process, I came across writing the book because people kept saying to me, "What are you going to do in France?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I'm just going. I'm going to see what takes my fancy. And I decided, I knew I was going to meditate whilst I was in France. So what I wanted to do was write a book about that process. However, that process was going to be sort of 90 to 100 days. I wasn't going to be in France long enough to have done all of that, write the book and get it published whilst I was there. And I had never written a book before. I'd never even considered I could write up until about a week before I went to France. So I found a project online which I could sign to, which basically took me through step by step. I wrote that book, but within that project they recommended that we buddy up with someone else in the program. So within a closed Facebook group, I came across, connected with a guy on there. We got in contact, and we now are accountable to one another. So it means when I'm writing, we catch up once a week to check how we're doing, and it just keeps you on track. It's a great way to really, follow through with something. He lives in LA. And so that was number 2. And the third thing, and was my deciding factor, was I had decided on the the want to write the book about the meditation process, having come across Carl Cease's 90-day transformational meditations where he video records each one. Mm-hmm. And I was quite interested in that, and he was almost finished that 100 days when I looked online and saw that he had his Evolving Out Loud events, and I could see that he was doing it in New York. I think that was the month that I arrived in France. He had done it in New York, and then I saw that the next one was in LA on the 2nd and 3rd of April, and I booked his ticket and I booked my return flight ticket within a week of being in France. So I didn't spend 3 months in France. I spent 2 months in France. I drove home at the end of March and flew out here a couple of days later, not expecting very much at all. I expected to enjoy my time at the Carl Cease project, the Evolving Out Loud event. I was looking forward to meeting Rob, who actually I'm meeting tomorrow. So that's exciting. He's my accountability buddy on the book writing. And of course, I was looking forward to seeing the chap that I had been getting to know. And I'm still enjoying getting to know. And I sit here now knowing that there is no way I'm going back to the life I had. I don't want it and I don't need it. I, of course, have my animals back in the UK, my amazing friends and family. They're my heart and soul in many respects. But that life is not the way I'm going. So exactly that. I sit here now knowing that what I'm doing right now in this minute is the right thing. And when we finish here today, then I'll go forward to tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll know what I'm doing tomorrow.
One thing that you touched on, which I think is so important, and this is probably why I felt the need to have you. And maybe it was so that you could listen to me and then do the listening project with me in some respect. But I think you're a great example of this. So often we go through life reacting to life, reacting. We do the things that are comfortable. We do the things that are safe. Mm-hmm. We do the things that make us feel secure.
And that are urgent in our
right?
heads. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's this longing, or this, I think it takes a great deal of bravery to say, you know what? I'm not happy. Mm-hmm. I'm not happy with what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not happy, whatever it is. I'm not happy with my physical being. I'm tired. I'm not happy with carrying this extra baggage, this extra weight in relationships. I'm not happy with the way I'm being treated. Mm-hmm. I'm not happy in the give and take aspect. Mm-hmm. I wish more for myself. I wish more for myself. I wish more for myself in a relationship. I wish more for myself in my physical body. I wish more for myself in knowledge. I wish more for myself in relationships that are not romantic, but, in friendships. Mm-hmm. I wish more for myself in my career, in my job, in my finances, in my well-being, in my all of that.
Yeah.
We have this desire, but we very rarely speak it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the great things about the Listening Project is that you can have people, say their story, what happened to them when they were young, or what happened, why they're in the situation they are in now. Mm-hmm. But also, it's so important for people to speak their truth.
Yeah.
And to say, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to get to that place. Mm-hmm. I just know that I don't want this.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
that's
really,
half the battle, isn't it?
It is completely. And to really just to have that understanding that and realization that this is not what you want, and to accept that by accepting that this isn't what you want, you're halfway on your path to getting what you want. But if you don't ever accept it, then why should anything change?
Well, isn't there a saying that you get what you think you deserve, or something like that, or you get what you put up with, or something? What's the word? It's the phrase. I don't know.
Well, the converse to that would be whatever your mind can believe it can achieve. So I think that's Napoleon Hill. But so the converse to yes. So if you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Right.
Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Because what else is there, you know?
Right.
So it works both ways completely. And so if you understand you're not where you want to be, and don't get me wrong, there's millions of people out there who are incredibly happy with exactly where they are. And,
exactly.
well, that's fine, but we're not talking to millions of people. We're talking to the handful or however many people out there who just know that where they are is making them unhappy
or making
feels
them sick.
wrong, or it's making them sick, is absolutely, whether it's body or mind. And we know that it's all too many people. To understand that this is not the right place, it's the acceptance of that is really that it's more than a tiny step over the comfort zone. It's that massive, it is the massive mental leap you need to take first to then go, okay, well, this isn't where I want to be. Where do I want to be? You know, when we were kids, when we were 3, 4, 5, maybe even 11, 12, 13, we were, plenty of us asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? And now, I never wanted to be an astronaut, but I did want to be an Olympic runner when I was in school, because I could run and I thought that would be fantastic. I wanted to be a major artist. And then somewhere along the line, that kind of, you get poo-pooed, you get, you know, don't be silly, you can't do that. Or if you want to do that kind of career, then you're going to have this sort of education, and, well, you know, you're not destined for that. And our dreams, we let them go. And if all we did was just spark them up a bit and have that belief we had when we were little, and that understanding that you can be whatever you want to be if you're brave enough to open yourself up enough to that.
And I think just realizing and vocalizing that you want the change, or that you demand the change, but then also, what I like about your story, and what I think it applies to so many people too, is that you don't need a definite plan of action. You don't need to know where the next place you're going to be is in order to step off. And that's what holds so many people back. Yeah. So many people are held back because they're like, well, I'm not happy in this relationship, but I don't want to be alone, so I'm going to put up with it. And, if I let go of this person, where am I going to go? Who's going to be you don't worry about that.
No, because you can't, none of us here can predict the future. You know, we can only base our future on what we've known before. If you're not happy in where you are now, in whatever aspect of your life, then surely something different has got to be better.
Exactly.
And the other, so.
And if you're not happy in what's happening right now, be it your job, be it your health, be it your relationship, your that energy is sending out more unhappiness.
Completely. And our job, you were saying we don't have to know, we don't have to be able to see the final picture. We don't need to. What we need to understand is our job within ourselves is to know how we want to feel, what we want our circumstances to be like, and to project that out, and to really believe that we're worthy of it, because that's a massive downfall, because so many of us just think we're not worthy, and we're each amazing individual beings on this planet, and why should one person's lifestyle, relationship, career be perceived by you as better than anything you could ever get? Why? Who's to say? Because no one else is ruling your life. And so our job is to create, is to design our life that we want, and with belief and understanding and true belief, which also takes some time and practice, and then it's up to the universe to then create it. So once we've designed it, the universe will create it, and that is what I'm experiencing every single day. I take the time out to meditate. I know exactly where I want to be, what I want to be doing, what that will involve, and then I let it go, and I just then sit with myself and listen. And from that, when it first started happening, it was amazing. I would come out of a meditation and I would write my notes up. And don't get me wrong, sometimes nothing happens. Sometimes there's just noise and craziness for whatever reason. But more and more, the more I practice listening to myself, and allowing whatever will be to come to me. Hey, it's how come I ended up on this radio show.
It's how you ended up being on stage at the Kyle Cease event. It's how you ended up being on Out of the Box Radio. And I want to encourage our listeners, because Jacqui and I are on the same journey that everyone who's listening is as well. And what I want to encourage our listeners to do, as myself, because as I'm saying this to you, I'm saying this to myself. I want to encourage all of us to have it's not even so much it's not a strength thing, and it's not even just having blind faith, because that sounds so, we so often just see ourselves as this, in this physical body with skin and bones, and we look in the mirror and all we see is this two-dimensional being. And we are so much more than that.
So much more than that.
We are so much more. And when we start to claim our own divinity, when we start to claim the fact that we are all part God,
pure
part love, light, whatever you picture God to be, the universe, then we have unlimited potential.
Infinite possibility, absolutely.
Infinite possibilities of what we can achieve. And so what we're saying right now is just take the first baby step, and to say, no, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. Take the weights off of you. Whatever it is, take the shackles off of you. I'm done with reliving my past over and over in my head. I'm done with seeking confirmation, seeking validation for who I am through other people. I'm done with going to a job that I absolutely hate. I'm done with whatever it is, XYZ.
Absolutely.
And once you make that decision, and to do it too with no malice.
Oh, completely.
Because you needed to go through that to be who you are.
You can there can
no
be
anger.
No regrets, no anger, no regrets, because we can't change it. What's been has been. And as I said at the top of the show, we are who we are today because of all of the experiences that we've had in our past. But that doesn't have to write our future for us. We are still here in this moment, right now, able to design whatever future we want. And if you do it with pure love for yourself and everybody and everything around you, you're absolutely on the right path to getting those things that for you will fulfill you, whether that is within a relationship, within your career, with your financial situation, whatever it is for you, because again, we're all individual. It's different for every one of us.
In case you're just joining us, this is Out of the Box Radio. I'm Christine, your host, and joining me is the wonderful Jacqui Greene of the Listening Project. And the Listening Project, like I've told you earlier, what I loved about that is that so many of us who want to improve themselves, to make changes in their lives and help others and just live an incredible life, we do need someone to actually listen to our stories, listen to our, our dreams, our hopes, our, maybe even our scary stuff that we have. And there's so few people that actually listen. And listen, not listen to because we were talking about that too. Some people will listen to that. They'll say, "Oh, tell me what's wrong. Oh, are you okay? Tell me what's going on." And you start to tell them what's going on, and you could tell that they're not invested at all in you. They're doing something else. They're doing dishes or whatever, or they are listening just long enough so that they can tell you what they want to say to you, and not really hearing you. What you provide your clients and the people that come to you is a real valuable tool.
Yeah, and that's and born from, again, just the understanding that to be heard, to really be heard and listened to, is such validation to our souls when we're going through troubles. But equally, on the complete other side of that, when we're having just what for us is the most amazing time, experience, something just wonderful has happened that we want to voice it to, sometimes our spouse isn't necessarily the person that's going to cheer us on. Sometimes our mum or our friend just don't quite get it. And as much as we love them, we want to feel that we have somewhere that's an outlet, that you have a cheerleader on your side, or that you have a shoulder to cry on that is unjudgmental, that is there to listen and to help where possible, to help you see, if it's a difficult situation, to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that there are different ways. Because also when we're in troubles and strifes, these things, especially in dark hours, they come at us and they go round and around and around in our heads. They don't have an outlet. But to have an outlet where somebody is truly listening to you, who has experienced some stuff in life, and can therefore give some understanding to that too. And it may be that there is no requirement for a fix or a decision to be made, but just actually for our thoughts and experiences and strife in that moment to be validated, allows space for your brain, because it gets it out of your head, and it allows then space for your brain to work out the next step all by yourself without the intervention of somebody else, other than to sit and actually validate the words that are coming out in the first place.
And then that's the first step to really moving towards that life that you know, that a better life that you want. But it's scary in the beginning, because again, also, you know, even saying goodbye to jobs, very scary when you don't know what you're going to do.
Absolutely.
Saying goodbye to relationships, extremely scary, extremely painful. It can be extremely. It can be. It doesn't have to be, but it can be.
Yeah.
Because you don't know
No.
what's on the other side.
No.
Even if the relationship or the job was bad or negative or harmful, you know it.
Yeah.
You see?
Absolutely.
And we're so, as human beings, we are so afraid of
the unknown, of something that's different. And it is. It's getting over being frightened of the unknown, because it is that you just don't know, you know, and it's the control freak in us. It's the, I want to know what's going to happen when I open the door, when I step outside. I want to know whether it's raining or not.
I want to know the weather.
Yeah, because
right.
I'm British. I always want to know the weather, of course. You know, I want to know that if I end this relationship, am I throwing myself into a vortex of loneliness for the rest of my life? The likelihood is no. But we just don't know, and it's that's frightening. But to be able to trust enough and to understand enough that if it isn't good, it isn't right. So the right thing is out there, but you have to let go. And also that's a thing about opening and the closing of doors as well. Very often, and something that I went through myself was, I spoke out loud about the fact that I felt like I was closing every single door to the things that I knew, and I couldn't see a path forward. And somebody very profoundly said to me, maybe you need to shut that last door before the next one opens. And it was just a moment of realization that absolutely, how can I step into my future if I'm still holding on to the door of my past? I had to let it go. And when I did, then it's gone. Then I don't need to hold on to that now. I can step on through. Now, it is scary. It doesn't have to be. It's, you know, at the end of the day, these things are all in our minds. You know, we create the monsters under the bed.
You know what? One reason why I think it's so scary is because we've never been taught, even through all the dogma and religion, we've always been taught that, you know, there's a couple different philosophies or ideologies, that there is this God who is in charge, and you know, it's just your lot in life to have to be miserable, or it's your lot in life to have this, or it's your lot in life to. We're never taught that you have the power to make yourself happy. You can only seek happiness through the way you physically look to the outside world. If you're a beautiful woman, you're okay. Or if you're a man, if you make a lot of money, you're acceptable. you name it, these social norms that we have, which are really sick. A lot of people running around flexing and looking beautiful, but on the inside they're absolutely
dying inside.
It's not that they're ugly on the inside, but what it is that they're seeking everything from the outside. They're seeking the attention.
Yeah. Whereas rather than finding the love from inside,
and loving themselves already,
and we're not taught that. Absolutely, we're not taught it. Through whatever religious following that you have, or more importantly, through schools or from our parents, or we're just not shown that. Or certainly, a massive percentage of the world are not given that and shown that we have to start with us. And that's kind of what I was saying right at the beginning, that we have to put ourselves first, not in a selfish, don't care about anybody else kind of way, but in a, I'm going to make sure I'm good, and then I can ensure that my children see that I'm putting me first, and how important that is for my self-esteem, for my ability to communicate with everybody around me, for me not to just be reactive to everything and everyone that happens in life. I mean, what a role model you are doing that, compared to giving your all to someone else, to everyone else.
When I was a kid, my parents, they divorced when I was 2, and I remember people saying to me as a young child, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're from a broken home." "Oh, I'm so sorry your parents divorced. How sad." And as a child, I thought that was so odd, because I knew that my parents, that so extremely opposite, first of all. I mean, worlds apart. But I was happy that they weren't together, because I knew that it would not have been a happy household for me to grow up in.
Yeah.
And even though I had the thing of having to go from one to, Christmas Eve, you got to be here, and Christmas Day, and here's the thing, out of the boxers. If you have children and you're separated or you're in a divorce or whatever, and it comes to the holidays or birthdays, and the children are at a certain age, you ask them what they want to do.
Absolutely.
All right? Because as a child, there is nothing more painful than when it's a holiday, and you know that both parents want to see you, but then having that thing of them fighting over you for the holidays, or putting pressure on you and saying, "Well, I want to have you for this day," and don't put them in the middle of that.
No. Or make those decisions out of earshot. I mean, my own experience with living with my friends and their beautiful little girl, who was just 2 back at the end of February. That little girl sees and hears everything. And just because they can't communicate back to us,
they feel it.
She sees and hears everything. So don't have them in the room. Make the choices and make the decisions, if the children are younger, away from their earshot, away from their energy, because if you have children, because I don't even have a child, I have a dog. And she picks up my energy. So especially if you have children, be very careful with the energy that you put out around them. Be careful with the type of music that you play. Be careful with your own extracurricular activities that you do, even if the kids are not there in the house. Because you know that your energy is imprinted with those children, and whatever you do, if it's self-destructive behavior, if it's something that is, you say, "Well, it's just me, I'm not doing it to my children, it's just me that I'm doing this to," it's not. Well, it's not just your children either. I think you'll probably agree that, we're all energy. We're all putting it out there to everybody. So, but yeah, when our children are a part of us, and I equally, I do not have children. I've been lucky enough to share space with this beautiful little girl for most of her life, and seen how she's parented, and know that is a way, if I believe if the whole world were parented like that, it would be a very different place.
Well, I don't have children, you don't have children, but we were children.
Yeah, we were.
And I know that
and all affected by it.
And I know that I picked up so much energy, and that's why I said, I would rather I am so grateful to my mom that she decided to have that, to get the divorce, to leave. And she had nothing. She had nothing to go to.
No.
But she just knew, she was to the point where she said, I cannot continue in this relationship, and it's going to affect my children. And she didn't know where she was leaping into.
Brave lady.
Very
Exactly.
brave.
But,
very brave, especially back in those days,
Yeah.
you know. And she didn't speak a whole lot of English, so my goodness, extremely brave. But I always, I cherish her for that.
Yeah.
And not staying in a marriage, because had she stayed in a marriage that she was miserable in, she would be teaching her children
that was the way to go.
that's what love is about. Love is about sacrifice. Love is about no. That's not love.
No.
No.
And for her to put herself and her children in that space, and ultimately herself first, to then be able to do the best that she could do for her children. It's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And we're not
taking
saying,
that leap.
Absolutely. And we're not saying, you know, we're not sat here saying, you know, tomorrow morning walk into work and give your boss your resignation. I'm not saying, you know, drop everything and leave your family home tomorrow. But if you know you're not happy, then something has to change. And it doesn't have to change tomorrow or the next day or the next week. But at some point, if you are going to feel fully fulfilled, something has to change. And perhaps what will help through that process is to talk it through.
And if people wanted to participate in with the listening project, and also book a session with you to talk, to go through the process of the listening project, and clearing some of that stuff out and beginning. I like it because it's a fresh beginning. It's a way to break free from the old and starting something new, and it's a great time to do it. How do people, you have a website, correct?
I do, that's right. So the website is my name, so Jacqui Greene, which nicely British is JACQUIGREENE. So that's JacquiGreene.com. So my website is there. And if people go to that website /Christine, then what you'll find there is my basic listening project package, which involves 3 1-hour video call sessions, one-on-one with myself. We'll work through the processes I spoke to at the head of the show, which is talking through your story, listening to your story, and then listening to yourself. So we'll work through all of those in those 3-hour sessions. And then also there is a 1-hour meditation download available within that package as well.
And then also a discount on any future.
Then
right?
any future sessions or purchases, lifetime of a 25% discount from that.
Nice. And that's only for Out of the Box radio listeners.
So the package is the package value is $499, but for the radio listeners, at any time, just go through to that website address. So it was www.jacquigreene.com/Christine. That package is available for $125, and that 25% discount lifetime is included then from there forward as well. So that stays within the package. It is what it is.
That's huge. That's a beautiful gift. $125 is, you know, that's and I'll tell you, that's like, you know, just even for one session wouldn't be enough for you, because there's so much that you're going to get when you talk to Jacqui. I know that. So for a $499 value for the listening project package, right? The one-on-one package.
Yeah, basic one-on-one package.
And it's 3 1-hour sessions. This would be through like Skype or
any kind of video calling. I prefer to. I work all over the world, so I can't be in one place physically as much as I would love to be, but also to have that connection, see eye to eye with somebody, and really, you know, it makes such a difference compared to a telephone call or any other kind of medium.
It's a fantastic package. Yeah. It's a fantastic offering. So 3 1-hour video sessions, one-on-one with Jacqui Greene, plus an hour meditation, a digital download. All right. So that's incredible value. And on top of that, 25% off any other future sessions or products and things like that. And I know you've got lots of books that are going to be coming out, all kinds of crazy stuff. So again, it's a $499 value for $125 to Out of the Box radio listeners only. And it's JacquiGreene.com/Christine. The spelling, yes, she's British. So just get ready to get your pen out and write it, because don't try and find it the other way. It's I have to even look at it. Like, hold on, I got to look at it. No, I'm not going to look at it. I'm just going to JacquiGreene. Huh?
That's it.
JacquiGreene.com/Christine. And you're going to get an amazing package with this wonderful, wonderful woman who, like I said, as soon as she was up speaking at the Evolving Out Loud, I knew all the voices in my head were like, you got to have her on the show. You got to get her on the show. Get her on the show. And I don't question it anymore, Jacqui.
No.
I don't question my intuition anymore. I don't question my goosebumps anymore. When I get goosebumps, I get goosebumps. And I say, you know what? I got full on goosebumps.
Yeah.
I see things. I mean, and I'm not an intuitive. Don't call me or email me for a session. I don't do that. All I know is that when I feel it, when I feel it now too, I'm not afraid or ashamed to speak it.
No, and that's a long way down the road of listening to yourself.
Oh, snap. You mean I'm starting to listen to myself?
Well, it seemed to work.
Well, I'm starting to listen to myself because before and you have that internal battle, don't you? You always have that internal thing.
Yeah.
It's like
you've got to go with the feeling as well as
yes.
You can't break away from head and heart. It's all part of us. But there's a big difference between us yelling at ourselves in our head a whole load of different things and the thing that feels right, the thing that feels light, the thing that you're drawn towards. That's the way you go.
I think that this is so helpful to so many people because I know everybody's having like a really hard time right now. And I think what's happening is that we're clearing out the stuff that's, cleaning our pipes, so to speak. I don't know if you've ever had a colonic or if you've ever had
not
something
personally,
like that. Okay, well, the idea is to clean the pipes.
Yeah.
And I think that right now we're cleaning the pipes. And in some respects, we're being forced to clean the pipes. Mm-hmm. In other respects, we're choosing to clean the pipes. Yeah. It's like spring cleaning.
Yeah,
right?
To get real, to be truthful to us and to everybody else around us. Yeah.
Whatever matters in your life. I had seen something just recently on the internet, and it said something about discover what really matters, and have the bravery and the courage to build your life around that.
Nice. Absolutely.
And I was like, wow. Because so many of us can say, I know what I want, or I know what would be nice.
Yeah.
But we don't.
I wish upon this star, or I.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not many of us have the. Maybe it's the inner belief that you know that you can do it, but not many of us have that ability to say, I'm going to build my world around that.
Yeah.
This is what's important to me. Whatever it is, it's important to you, listeners. Whatever is really, really important to you, have the courage and the bravery to step off. I'm speaking to somebody here who her whole life is in England.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Your horses, your dog, your place, your friends.
Everybody. Everything.
But you're here, and you probably you might go back there just for a little bit, but you're coming back.
I'm coming, yeah.
You like California, I know.
If I go, I'm definitely coming back. The if is if I go. And if immigration are listening, I am going back.
Yes. Jacqui Greene is definitely going back. She is not staying here. No, she's going back. It's just been such a lovely time with you, and we have just a little bit more time left in the show. Is there anything that you're getting right now that you feel that you need to tell the listeners that just needs to be heard from them?
Oh, well, we've covered so much, but just that, the ultimate, to believe in yourself, really. No matter, even our closest friends and our most beloved family members, they don't see what we see inside. They don't feel what we feel inside. And so ultimately, you have to believe in yourself, your dreams, your values, your passion, and they will be there for the ride. You won't lose those people along the way. They may question you. It's their job to question you because they love you so much. But by ultimately loving yourself and truly loving yourself and everyone around you, that's when they'll come back to you tenfold and be cheering alongside you as you go, because you did something that they maybe weren't quite brave enough to do. So start with the belief in yourself, and if you haven't got it yet, perhaps find someone who can lend you the belief. I have many mentors who have done that for me, who when I've struggled in times I've borrowed their belief in me and then learned to find it in myself.
And if you can't find someone like that, you can always go to JacquiGreene.com, and don't forget, she's offering this fantastic package, a one-on-one package for the Listening Project. There's involved with this 3 1-hour sessions, video conferencing sessions, 3 1-hour separate ones, a 1-hour digital download of a meditation, and also future sessions at 25% off. The package value is $499, and Out of the Box Radio listeners get it for $125, which is fantastic. So that's JacquiGreene.com/Christine. You got to put in that full URL to get that. And again, Jacqui Greene is spelled JACQUIGREENE. JacquiGreene.com/Christine. I got that right, didn't I?
You did.
And I didn't even have to look at my notes. That's pretty good. Jacqui, I'm so glad you stepped on stage. I'm so glad that Kyle picked on you, and I'm glad you wore the blue dress. and I'm really glad that you contacted me, that you looked at that card and said, I don't know. Maybe this is a step, and you just took a step into the unknown.
Well, I'm glad I took it too. Thank you for having me. Thank you for approaching me after my moment on stage that was came out of the blue, as it were.
And now we're lifelong friends.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter if you're in California or if you go back to that.
The world's a small place with
Exactly.
the technology we have these days.
Exactly. Thank you so much again for joining me. Until next time, listeners, you've been listening to Out of the Box Radio. We will have links to the webpage, that specific page on the information page for this show. And make sure you join us next week as well. Out of the Box Radio. You can go to iTunes and subscribe to the program. It's Out of the Box with Christine on iTunes. Or you can go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel that is Out of the Box Radio. I know it all had to be different because everybody stole the original Out of the Box Radio things that I needed. So just go to YouTube and look for Out of the Box Radio. You will see all of the archives of the different shows, and you can subscribe on iTunes. Until next time, always, my dears, remember to think outside of the box.